Hey, I'm Torment from the GCB. If you're not familiar with me, I'm a former world champion, competed for 7 years in the RLCS, and coached for about 2 years, and have been playing for a really long time since release. I was around when directional air roll got added to the game about a couple years after release, so I have a lot of experience with directional air roll, and I am here to help you today with mastering that. I will be specifically focusing for air roll right on how to turn left and how to turn right in the air the standard way. There's a lot of ways you could change directions, but this is kind of the base of like I want to go this direction, I want to go that direction. If you want tornadoes and reverse tornadoes for air roll right, then Freaky will have you covered on that aspect. First things first, we're starting with how to turn left in the air with air roll right. And I would say this one's simpler than how to turn right, even though it sounds a bit weird, right? But when you start air rolling right, your nose will face to the left. So it's a lot simpler with like the standard kind of tornado, holding your stick to the left. Because a tornado, you hold your stick to the left, right? So that's how we're starting. That's what I want you to think about is like your stick will be to your left, for your spins. Not straight to the left though, again, that's the tornado spin. So we want to be holding up and to the left to do like a standard spin in the air. And I'm not going to do constant. We'll start with just like a simple turn like that and get my nose to the left. And you notice, this is very important, is how much you're boosting when your boost is facing a certain direction is where you're going to go, right? So my nose is now facing the left. And you see my boost is behind me, right? So it's going to be pushing me that direction. So your nose is very important in these instances, and you want to be, boosting in direction your nose is facing, and you want to make sure your nose is facing the way you want to go. So that is very important just to have in your head, and will help you with just, adjustments in general, right? So yeah, basically that's how we start. We start with that up and like basically think of it as like 45 degrees. If this is 0 straight up, this is like 45 to the left, I guess. And that kind of spin will immediately put your nose to the left and up, which is what you want. I need to pull back a little bit and then do it. And I'm doing a 360 right now. I should be doing a 180 or 90. But that's basically the premise. It'll put your nose to the left, and we'll start with just being able to do that in the air, maybe like staying in the air, like hovering. It's a little bit hard with ball came off. I hit that. I hit that. I hit that. And obviously the way you're leaning your car will get you higher and lower, like there. But the way I'm going on the field, and I could do it kind of going around the edge of the field as well if I'm in the corner. And rings will help with this. We'll get to that in a second. But doing like something like this could help you kind of change directions, and it's probably easier for me to actually show me changing directions and being in the middle. And just doing that kind of 90-degree turn. And I'm kind of tapping it. If you see, my stick is not moving much because I don't want to over adjust and start like, if I hold it, I'll start like if I hold it and let go of my air roll, you see I just lost control immediately. So I'm barely, tapping my stick. It's only moving because I want to adjust. And I let go of air roll, so it stopped air rolling because I wanted to stop. So for this 90-degree turn, it's very quick, right? It doesn't last more than like a part of a second. All right, next we'll look at how it looks when I'm pushing kind of straight up. And this is kind of like, again, these aren't the only two inputs, the straight up left and the straight up. There's always an in between, right? There's like so many ways your joystick can face. So this is just kind of to show the difference between, and there's kind of like an in between. You won't exactly go here and then go here, right? You'll like drag it across a lot when you're air rolling. So think of it more of like a spectrum in that aspect of like kind of ways your car can move and how you want your nose to face. But basically the straight up is way more of a sharp turn, I would say. Right, just slightly. I mean, it's not like it's not like insanely drastic, but it kind of just pushes your nose even more. And I would say it's a little bit harder to control, maybe, but it does have its uses, and you will have times where you will use it. And specifically, like honestly, when I look at it, it kind of brings your nose lower. So if you're like in the air and you need to dip down, maybe right like that, you see like I'm kind of dipping down and also turning left, or like moving to the left slightly. That would kind of be the usage for it, in my opinion. It would be to kind of get my nose down, make adjustments to go lower. And yeah, it's pretty similar and otherwise on how you'd use it. And I'll kind of do this hovering around the field thing with it. I'm air rolling. Don't ignore that takeoff. And it's like really sharp. I actually just messed it up. So let me go again. Hovering, hovering. And then, yeah, you see how my car basically flattens out when I do it, right? It's very low. But that could have a lot of usages, right? Ignore that air roll. That's just kind of habit. Yeah. And you can do a full spin with it as well, just holding it longer. That's probably feels more natural, doing like a 360, and that's kind of the next step we'll move on to with both these. 360, just doing like full spin, just holding it up. And you can kind of see I'm going in between almost. It's almost like harder for me to control straight up, to be honest, but it's just good to know the difference between the two, and like, you know, you guys will find the in between on like how to kind of do it as you go. Because I can't explain every single, you know, we're going to go 40, we're going to go 45, 44, 43, 42, you know, obviously I can just kind of show the two sides of it, and then the in between you guys can kind of, as you go, figure out like your stick is moving on its, or like moving kind of as you do it, and you're kind of finding those adjustments yourself. But start with the 45 and the 0, and then kind of go from there. So now we'll go into rings and show how you do both of those turns in that way. Lava rings, this one's pretty good. This one's good because it kind of progresses for you, and most of them do, but this one will show your progress. Not show your progress, but it will get progressively harder, so it'll kind of test you more. So first things first, let's start with just like in the air. This is kind of what I suggest, is you start by just changing directions with like one simple spin, right? And of course, when you have to go to the right, I mean, right now, you just focus on doing left. So like right now, I'm just like air roll. I'm just flying, and now it's like a left turn, and I do a turn like that. And you can kind of do a 90 if that's like more comfortable. You can do the full spin. Kind of, again, your ability level with this. Ignore those air rolls. So I'm just not going to air roll on the ones that are having me go right. This one actually I can just skip because it's all right. So I just use a normal air roll there to go through that. So this one actually is important. Let me point this one out, because this one I'm dipping down. So if you notice, I'm holding up, right? And my nose is dropping. But of course, you get to a point when you got to get height again. You'll have to start, you know, boosting back up and facing your nose up. And here, honestly, when you probably wouldn't want to hold up anymore, because, yeah, you want to start boosting up, right? You want your boost again to be facing the direction you want to go. And if you want to go up, you have to boost up. So let's just go past that one. Oh, this one's a sharp turn right. Okay, we haven't gone over right yet, so I guess I'll come back to this. Now I'm going to do like a full spin. So we kind of do like a 90/180 spin, and just kind of doing it as I go. And this will be a lot easier when you have both sides down. So again, check out the right side one when I go over that. And you want to be able to mix these in together, because in the air, in game, you got to imagine you're going to be going left, right, trying to adjust both ways. You don't know. So you want to obviously be able to go both ways, and you want to practice the rings maps the same way. Okay, here we go left. I'm just here, and then I'm here, right? And I got to that point. And now at that point, I faced my nose to go that way. I didn't use any air roll after that. Obviously, if it didn't go perfectly for you there and you wanted to go right, you'd have to practice adjusting to the right and doing it that way. And I just paused because for just the left spins, I think we have that pretty much covered. Now I'll go into free play and kind of explain moments where you would probably use this kind of spin, the left spin. So, I mean, basically anytime you want to go to the left, I would say is pretty good. If you notice, it has a more exaggerated, like I said, it has a more exaggerated kind of spin. So I actually like using it sometimes on air dribbles to kind of like pop the ball with like that part of my car, right? Just getting these pops. And again, I might not hold it like that the whole time. I'm just doing it to show you guys, but I'll use it a lot of times on those touches. Get my takeoff. And now we're taking off from the wall. Obviously, I didn't discuss that. It doesn't change a whole lot because you kind of air roll into the neutral position anyways, like that. See? So it doesn't change a whole lot except the takeoff. You might have to just spin a little bit more to get to the neutral position, like that. And yeah, and that's specifically, I mean, I'm not moving left, right? I'm not really turning left. It's just more for an adjustment, that kind of air roll. So now we'll look at how to air roll, aerial, and like turn left in the air. And it's basically the same idea. I'm just like, you know, I'm just doing this and this. Like, see how I started kind of facing the net and I ended up in the corner? It's for that kind of adjustment. I can kind of showcase it like this. And this could be a good way to practice, actually. So I take off, I'm facing the net, and I try to get over to the corner by just doing this air roll adjustment. If you notice, I'm not full boosting because there's times when my boost isn't facing exactly the way I want to go, right? If you notice, like, there's points in this air roll where my boost is facing, like, you know, to the right, or not, sorry, not to the right. It's facing more toward the direction I want to go. Not entirely, but it's facing more. And I can't exactly showcase the angle, but you can see at some points it actually faces like the net almost. It's looking at the net, and that would start boosting me kind of not where I'd want to go exactly. So I'm not exactly boosting that whole time. So that's a couple kind of ways you could practice it, and get the hang of it before you go into rings, and then in rings when you have both down, that's when I would recommend kind of throwing both together. All right, y'all. I hope that helped, and now we're gonna move on to how to turn right in the air.